Hey guys, Mr. Waltz here. I'm going to show you how to make the clock support. So first thing we're going to do is create a sketch. We'll go over here, and what we want to do is click on this face here. So we're actually going to go in here where we made the slot for the support, and we'll actually draw it and extrude it here. So I'm going to click there. Now we're looking at this. We made our sketch, but what the view it's giving us is outside. So that's not as useful. I'm going to click the right view. What we want to do is do slice here. So when you do slice, we're just going to do is cut this thing open, and you can see we're looking at, this thing cut open right where we want to do our sketching. Um, Now there's some points in here that we're going to need to reference for our sketch. So what we want to do is bring them into our sketch. They're 3D points. We want to bring them in as construction lines. So over in the sketch palette, I'm going to choose construction line. I'm going to go to the create menu, and I'm going to go to project include, and we're going to do project. And where it says geometry, we are going to choose selection filter bodies, because we want to pick the whole face of the clock, and project and link, leave that on, and just click on that. And what it's going to do is create in your sketch some construction lines that represent the shape of the face. And I'm going to hit OK. Now, in order to see the sketch, it's kind of hard because the 3D object is there, the body is there. So I'm going to click here where it says face. I'm going to click the eyeball tool here and uncheck that. And so now I can see the shape. So down here, this is the slot that we cut. Up here is the main part of the face. And so we're going to use a 2-point rectangle. I'm going to go over here on the bottom. I'm not going to click here. I'm just going to register this point and go over to the left, click. And then I'm going to go up here to the top right. And I'm going to type in 50 for the height, and then hit tab, 50 for the width. And then I just realized I made a small mistake. I got to hit construction, because you can see it's going to make a construction line. I don't want that, so I got to turn that off. Anyways, if you hit enter, you should get a rectangle 50 by 50 on the bottom. Now, rectangle's not fully constrained, needs a little bit of work, but we're going to take care of that. So we want to make the slot in this. So it needs a slot at the top to go into the face. So what we're going to do is draw another rectangle. We're going to go right here and go down to this point here. Okay. So there's our other rectangle. And then here on the top, we need this to be open. So we're going to trim this away. We're going to use the trim tool and click until there's nothing left. And so that's the shape we're going to make for this support. Now you can tell it's not fully constrained. It's even giving me warnings about constraints, so it needs some constraints. And what we really want is for this thing to be centered. We want the same amount of material over here as we have over here. And when we have that situation, we use an equal constraint. So we're going to hit equal, going to hit the right side here and the left side here, and they'll center. Now this moved for some reason, not sure why. What I want to do is use a coincident constraint, and I'm going to click this point and click that line there. And we're looking pretty good now. We only have 2 blue lines. Let's see what's going on. Down here on the bottom, I can drag this line down so it doesn't know to be coincident here. So I'm going to click coincident, that line, and that point. And then everything actually looks good now. Okay. So then what we're going to do is finish the sketch, go to our home view. I'm going to turn the face back on so you can kind of see what's going on. So we're making this little piece that fits into the slot. So now we're going to extrude this. There's 3 sections. Click that rectangle, that rectangle, that rectangle. We're going to change the extent type from distance to to object. I'm going to twirl this around here. What I want to do is extrude to that surface. And you can see it goes ahead. Now, what it's trying to do here, though, it's making it, which is great, but what it's trying to do is a join operation. So it's trying to make this part of the face, but when we make it on the laser cutter, it's going to be a separate piece. So we need to make this a new component. So we're going to hit new component there and hit OK. And you'll see as soon as you hit OK, the piece is there. Over here in the browser, it'll say component 2. We're going to go and change the name of this. Double click it. We'll call this the support. The other thing we need to do, it needs a material, right? So let's give it a material and an appearance. And we're just going to do what we did before. We're going to use birch for our material, and then our appearance. Oops, I clicked on the eyeball there. We're going to use the unfinished ash. There we go. Okay. So now we got our support in there. Now, if you look at it, it's got these sharp corners. It's a little clunky looking, in my opinion. It's not the prettiest thing I've ever made. So let's round these corners off on top. We'll do a fillet. And to kind of keep the design consistent, we'll use the same radius that we did on the face. So I'm going to click that edge there, and I'm going to click this edge here. And the radius I used before was 25. And you can see that gives it kind of a nice look there, kind of matches the other corners. And we leave it flat on the bottom because that gives it a wider footprint and more support. Okay, great. So now we've made this support. Let's check our assembly. Let's grab it and drag it. Uh-oh, bad times. So we made these two pieces and we drew this one in the right place, but we didn't quite do the assembly stuff. So let's take care of that now. So the face is like the main body, right? So we're going to right click on it and say ground on the face. So and then grab the face, make sure it doesn't move. And then the support, we want to make a joint there, but here's the deal. We're just going to make a rigid joint. And so Fusion, they have a thing in here so that if you've got something in the right place already, you don't have to go make a new joint. It'll just rigidly attach them. And so what I'm going to do is go over here in the browser list. I have face and support. I'm going to hold control and click on both. So they're both selected. And then if I right click, there's going to be an option to make a rigid group. And so this will just apply a rigid joint to them. And it'll give you an option here. You can just hit OK. And then we can click on it and you can see if you drag these, they're stuck together. Okay, so this is great. We got one support on here. We want to put the other one there. And so we're just going to make a copy. So go over in the browser, find support, right click, move copy, create copy. I've got it in a different mode called point to point. You're going to want to be in free move mode. Make sure create copy is on. And then drag this over here. I'm not going to put it in exactly the right spot. It's hard to get there. I'm going to put it a little bit past the edge and then hit OK. So now I have a copy. You can see it says support 1 and support 2. And then I'm just going to joint these together. And there's various ways to do this. I'm just going to use rigid joints. And what I'm going to do is do J for joint. I'm going to click the center of this bottom square here. Boom. And then I'm going to go in here, rotate it over, and that I'm going to make it go to the center of that square. And if you hit OK, everything should go together. And then we can grab these pieces. Everything looks good. Nothing moves. And we're actually done making new pieces on the clock. Go on to the next video, and I will show you how to install the movement and the hands and all the other pieces you need to have a finished clock. Good luck. Have fun.